Gather around, ladies and gents, once again, right here, the Union Smack has returned in full force. No retro reviews, no omnibuses, the original extra crispy style, you could say. The good old recipe, the way we used to do it from the beginning. Matt is here, Cardiff is in the books, the little vacation, all that stuff. Before we get into any of that, Matt, welcome. Where can everyone check you and our store and all that good stuff?
You can find me on Twitter at The Perfect Tenant. You can find our merchandise, the official Union Smack shirt, the official Hibiki TMD shirt, the official Reset Button shirt, and the official Tenant Talks and Union Smack Hall of Fame t-shirts to come in the next week or so at unionsmack.bigcartel.com.
Very good, very good. And as always, find me on Twitter at the Hibiki TMD. Hit that little red button right down below for all the goodness, retro gaming and pro wrestling. Man, Tenant Talks is now dropped. We got the Adrian Street Hall of Fame. We got omnibuses, retro reviews. So much stuff is coming out of Union Smack from just all these spinoffs now. I'm so used to doing news segments with you from the beginning, but in its place this time, before we get to the actual post-show review of Takeover Cardiff, how was the general experience?
It was fabulous. I think I posted on Twitter after it that it was either a great night or the best night ever, whatever I posted, but it genuinely was. From just being in Cardiff, I haven't been to Cardiff for 12 years, it's changed quite a bit, but just like being there, being with the people, and of course they had World Cup rugby on as well the same day. It's like as I was leaving the hotel to go to the Motorpoint Arena, I got stuck in, it must have been 2,000 rugby fans, just a sea of them walking down the street, and I've got it on film, and it'll be in the vlog, which should be with you at some point when I can find time to finish it with work and everything. But yeah, just that, getting to the arena, seeing the setup, being closer to the ring, Travis, than I was in Blackpool. That was a nice experience, and I was generally surrounded by some really nice people on the night, people who started chants and people who brought their kids, so it was mostly child friendly as well, apart from everyone shouting "fuck you, Walter." So I might have been one of them as well. But you know what? It was a great night, great experience. It was a great event, and it was a I can't fucking talk. It was a pleasure and a privilege to be there for that main event live.
You said you had better seats than Blackpool, and that's crazy because those are some pretty damn good seats. And when I watched it, I looked for you, and I think I saw you on the playback.
Do you know what? I didn't see me on the actual event, but if you watch the pre-show, which I did watch as well when I got back, you can see me right at the very beginning as the camera pans over the audience, because there's very few people in there. So what I'll do is I'll send you a screenshot of it later on Twitter, and you can see if you can spot me.
That, or hopefully it'll be edited in at this part of the show and everyone's looking at it right now.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
It's not a great picture, but yeah. I saw me just briefly looking, so you should be able to see it.
I can't get my mind off the being in a sea of rugby fans. I'm guessing they weren't a bunch of single-filed, well-mannered, polite individuals. They were probably a bunch of rascals, I'd assume.
They were Welsh and Irish, so yeah.
There you have it.
And the Welsh lost, so they weren't very happy people on the day.
Well, by the end of this show, they definitely had won. Everybody had won who had watched this pay-per-view, in my opinion. One of the best shows in pro wrestling in general all year. Was Takeover Cardiff, flat out. Definitely top 3 for WWE as a company this year so far, I'd say.
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt. And that main event, I mean, everyone knows I love Pete Dunne, but that top Pete Dunne and Walter at Takeover New York, at least for me, it's like, we'll get to it, but, what the fuck am I saying? It's alright, it's late, I'm tired.
It's been a long week.
It's been a fucking long week.
You've had quite the little year for yourself here. You've gone to the first 2 ever Takeover events. And which one did you prefer as an experience? If you could do it all over again, which one would you have to pick?
It's difficult because I did love Blackpool, even though the weather was hideous and it was January. I did love like just going to Blackpool and being by the sea, etc. But I would have to say probably I think Cardiff edges it just slightly.
Yeah, there you have it. Guys, look for the travel vlog coming soon on the channel. Not just this, the whole shebang, the special features, bonus footage, 2 hours worth. It's coming. Matt's voyage to Takeover Cardiff. Let's get down to business, the brass tacks, pal, and actually talk about Takeover Cardiff. This show's been hyped up for a while. Like we said, the second ever NXT UK Takeover. I think the ugly negative aspect of this whole thing was the fan bases going into this show. Because we all know what else dropped when Cardiff dropped on the same couple hours later, but this is also AEW All Out. Obviously, everybody knows that. Both aired on the same day. The AEW fans, in my opinion, the diehards, and I know some of you guys are AEW fans. I'm a fan to an extent, but the idiots, the insufferables, you could say, Matt, those guys, they didn't give Takeover a chance, or they just didn't watch it and lied. They said they did, because how anyone could come away from watching this and say there was no good out of it is just baffling. I don't even have another word for it. It's just this weird place we're at with this launch of AEW right around the corner, and just people, at least we're open-minded, right? Like I've come to a point, I've paid my dues with watching Young Bucks matches. It's been at least 5 years. Now I'm at a point where I think I've earned the right to say I don't want to watch them, so I don't watch them. I'll admit it, I just can't do it. But these fucks, these idiots, I'll say it right now, this show is better than All Out. There you have it.
Oh, hands down, and I haven't even watched All Out yet. I read the review of All Out. It seems like a decent event, but how you could go from top to bottom on this card and then top to bottom on All Out and say that was better, it's baffling. It's like people don't want to give it a chance. To the AEW marks, it's just the greatest thing since fucking sliced bread, and nothing's ever gonna be better than AEW. But in reality, there's quite a few things better than AEW. NXT UK, NXT, majority of New Japan, let's say. And while I'm on the subject of New Japan, Royal Quest was on the same day as both as well, and it was quite refreshing to not hit anything from New Japan fans. It's like usually they're the insufferable ones, but this time they were just like in the corner, very quiet.
Yeah. And when you did see them, they were only talking about how good their show was. They weren't blasting other companies. And New Japan fans, it's so funny you said that, because I was thinking this the other day. New Japan fans are so much less insufferable now, like the diehards, right? Because AEW fans existing. It's like, I don't know, it's like you got a stepbrother or something, but I don't know, then your dad remarries, you get another stepbrother who's way worse, so the other one doesn't seem as bad or something. I don't know, something like that. But yeah, shout out to you, tip of the hat, New Japan fans this weekend. You kept it classy. You really did. And I really want to watch that show too. I'm hearing good things with Ishii, especially.
I've not read a review of Royal Quest yet, but I'll get round to it all, Travis. It's like I've got a lot of work on right now. I'm a busy man, believe it or not. I've got the book. I'm 4 weeks behind on the book, writing up NXT UK. I've got work. I've got the travel vlog to still edit. I've got the next tenant talks.
Plus a little sneak peek. You got yourself a little movie to watch now.
Yes, we are doing Hibiki High Spots Power Rangers the movie. Plus, not just that, Travis. We've also got the next Union Smack Hall of Fame to work on. So it's going to be a busy September for both of us, I think.
I hope you guys, the listeners, are very hungry, because we got a whole buffet of bullshit coming your way this fall. So much new content from just this show alone, guys. So stick around on the channel and stick around as Power Rangers month continues. Let's finally continue. Let's do it. I've been bullshitting and dicking around. Let's do it now and get down to the review of Takeover Cardiff. This show kicked off with Noam Dar, Travis Banks. You know what? I'll come clean going into this. I wasn't hyped. I was just kind of like, it's kind of there. But coming out of this match, glad I watched it.
Oh, me too. Like you said, it didn't have a lot of hype on television. Very, very little, in fact. But they delivered on the night, and poor Travis Banks. Like, he's now lost every major feud he's ever been in NXT UK.
Mm-hmm. We just talked about it. It's so ironic. Jerry Lynn and Justin Credible opened up Heatwave 98. That felt like this to me. And Travis Banks feels like Jerry Lynn. Keeps getting passed over.
I hope his time does come. I understand why they put Noam Dar over here. Like, they want to continue his heel push and etc. etc. But at the same time, it's like, will somebody please think of Travis Banks? It's like the damage done to this man's career in NXT UK so far is quite immeasurable.
I was a little surprised too, and I know he's a New Zealander, so by no means a local, but I don't know if it's because he has new theme music in a way and his Titantron's a little different or whatever, but not a huge reaction for Banks from you guys during his entrance here.
No, and a lot of people in the arena on the night actually preferred Noam Dar.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, because it's like Cardiff and then someone from Scotland. It's like, it's not the best. It's not got the best relationship in the world. But yeah, Noam Dar was very over on this show, and there was a guy in front of me who was actually trying to get a charm started of squeeze his Kiwis.
My God, glad that didn't break out in full force. I think it's more of a charisma thing with these two in the ring is why people prefer Dar in this. Even watching at home, I kind of found as much as I loathe Dar sometimes, I found myself wanting him to win this. And I compared to Justin Credible and Jerry Lynn earlier because I feel like these two guys in this match and how it was paced and booked was a perfect way to kick off a show, quite frankly, where you got to catch your breath after pretty much every match and gather yourself onto the next one. And this was a perfect way to set that match on fire and that little fuse till the bomb explodes, and these guys, they worked a great match. Very little, if any, mistakes in it from either. We saw good storytelling. We saw tremendous selling from Travis Banks, like we always do. One of the best sellers in the world, in my opinion.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, they both did themselves like favors with the action, and it was good from beginning to end. Counters, and I think we've seen this with Travis Banks over the last few weeks in NXT UK. I'm hoping you're up to date on it, otherwise I'm probably just going to be talking to myself here. But his match against Kenny Williams, like that was a really good back and forth match. It seems like Travis Banks has gone since his since his defeat to Walter at the Download Festival. It's like Travis Banks has taken his game up a level, and each match keeps getting better. I just hope that the constant booking decisions don't derail him, and he just thinks, well, if they're not going to put me over, why should I kill myself?
The ends definitely got to justify the means here.
Yeah, it has. I don't know where Noam Dar goes from here. There was nothing I read on Sunday night.
I thought you called it from our reviews going into this, like the NXT omnibuses and stuff. I thought it was Kenny Williams showing up and turning heel in this to help Dar, but we didn't see that.
See, that would have made much more sense, because then you could have pushed them as a heel tag team against Mark Andrews and Flash Morgan Webster. But now you've got Noam Dar as just a singles heel, and what do you do with him?
Dragunov, I suppose, which we'll get to in a second.
I mean, I wouldn't yet. The damage that's been done to Ilya Dragunov is as immeasurable as the damage that's been done to Travis Banks right now.
Trust me, I just talked to our friend JD in DMs yesterday while he was watching the show. The first time I heard my fill on the Dragunov issue. We'll get there.
Okay.
Yeah, this match was fine. Dar getting the win. We saw the only real botchy move was he went for oh my God, why am I drawing a blank on the name of that move right now? But the beautiful disaster kick is what I call it, because that's what it is. On the outside on the barricade, he kind of didn't get all the elevation. Travis Banks. Slice of heaven. Thank you, Matt. That's why you're here as my co-host. Yeah, besides that, pretty much flawless match. Like I said, beautiful transitions, like submission-wise from Banks. I think Dar is still missing something, but I think he's on his way to finding it, if that makes sense. With performances like this, yeah, I think he'll be all right in NXT UK at least for a while.
Yeah, I mean, I hope if they're pushing Noam Dar this much, I hope they give him something. I don't want to see him as UK champion, but I'd be interested to see him versus Walter on an episode of NXT UK, like just to sort of hammer home the fact that he's in the upper echelon of heels, but he's not going to make the top.
And I think that begs the question again that we brought up in the past: does NXT UK need a secondary title?
Yes, I've been saying this for a while. Bring in the European Championship. Like, redesign it, rebrand it, the NXT European Championship, because there's so many fucking European wrestlers on the brand now that it would completely fit.
Yeah. Just do it. You got nothing to lose by doing it. If anything, you make money because that's more belts in WWE shop to sell.
You know, they don't have enough. But yeah, I mean, it'd be perfect.
And I feel like Noam Dar would totally benefit from that right now. It would give meaning to matches like this. Even though this was good, there was no real meaning to this other than it was just a nice little exhibition. It wasn't a huge grudge match or anything. It wasn't a tremendous angle. It was just there. That's the only complaint, you know.
And look how they bring in the North American Championship, elevated mid-card matches on NXT TV and takeovers. It's like, as long as it's handled correctly and, you know, not given a shitty story and placed on someone who can benefit from it, then I see no reason at all. We're almost a year into NXT UK's lifespan now, not to give them a secondary championship.
Hopefully we see the creation one in the near future, Matt. In the near future, where did that take us to next on this show?
That took us to an interview with Radzi backstage with Cesaro, who actually the day of Takeover had announced on Twitter that he would be issuing an open challenge to anyone on the NXT UK roster. It was a nice little unexpected sixth match, but I was hoping Pete Dunne would answer it, obviously.
For me, and I know they wanted to get Dragunov on here to get him exposure, and I get that shit. It's the wrong kind of exposure. Yeah. No reason this shouldn't have been Cassius Ohno. You got tons of backstory right there for these two. And it wouldn't have hurt Cassius Ohno to eat a fucking loss. Sorry I'm getting so worked up, but we're beyond ridiculous. When it all went downhill for me and I went off the deep end with this Dragunov shit, when you, Matt, sent me a DM one day saying that this guy's been losing to Kona Reeves on house shows. Yeah. Kona Reeves!
Yeah, on NXT house shows have been jobbing into Kona Reeves.
Holy shit, Matt. Holy shit. I'm sorry I haven't gotten this worked up in a while, but my God, what are they doing?
Well, you know, see Tenant Talks issue 1 for my take on that, Travis. But it's a farce. It's an absolute farce. Can I just say the reason they didn't give Cassius Ohno to Cesaro here was because Cassius Ohno was on the taping before Takeover.
Oh, boo-hoo. We couldn't book him twice.
Yeah, I know. Especially when his opponent was Sid Scala.
Especially when they tape their weekly TV show and these guys wrestle like 3 or 4 fucking times usually. Right? At least twice sometimes.
Yeah, well, Tegan Knox wrestled twice on Sunday night for...
Oh, let's take the one talent who just got back from 2 horrific injuries and put her out there twice, but nobody else. Logic does not exist sometimes in this company. Either way, this promo, it was all right. It is what it is. I mean, it's a Cesaro promo that's never been a strong suit in his entire career. That's always been, I feel like, his biggest detriment to why he's never been pushed on that upper level is just the way he cuts promos. I feel like some guys just are never going to get better, and that's as good as it gets, and I feel like he's a case of that with promos.
I mean, sadly, yes. If I was Cesaro, the reaction I got in this match, I would want to stay in NXT UK / NXT and ask actually to be put on either one of the brands.
Yeah. I would want to stay right where he's at right now. He's a perfect fit for the main event scene. That'd be a perfect guy, too, as kind of a transitional win for Walter until we get to the end of the road with whoever's getting that belt in the future. And that would be a great match.
Yeah, I agree. I'd love to see Cesaro versus Walter or Bate or even Travis Banks, and hopefully we get a Pete Dunne Cesaro match, but it doesn't look like we're going to. There's so much potential in Cesaro in NXT UK that I hope they exploit it, and I hope he's willing to, to travel once a month to the UK to do the 2 nights worth of shows, because it could pay off. Like I wouldn't be against Cesaro as UK champion in the future.
And payoff is such an ironic word because I think the only reason this might not happen is I don't think the payoff that he would get for his bank account would be nearly as good as being on Raw, obviously. But it's a tough call.
I mean,
how do you feel if they did a storyline where, like, we get Walter and Cesaro, but during the course of that, Walter turns babyface, is kicked out, Cesaro's the new leader of Imperium?
I'd be okay with that.
There's a lot you could do with that.
That would be a natural progression to ease Walter out of NXT UK and WWE as a whole. If he's, intent on leaving, as we, here he is, I'd be okay with that. It would give Cesaro something else to do,
And I could picture him wearing that Imperium jacket in my head, clear as day.
Yeah. I mean, there's something about Cesaro that look in his face, he looks fearsome. Walter looks fearsome presence-wise, like he could literally kill you.
Yeah.
But Cesaro looks more like...
It's more subtle.
More subtle, but he looks more like the evil leader without having to have, the presence of Walter.
Right, yeah. It's like Jason Statham, let's admit it. He looks like fucking Jason Statham. He's always reminded me of him.
I can't stand Jason Statham. At least Cesaro wrestles better than Jason Statham acts.
Obviously, could you stand this match? Because during the promo, like we said, interrupted by Dragunov doing some weird little sounds, Dragunov sounds, and just really intense here, and just looked like he was ready to rip out somebody's actual throat. And that was pretty much the challenge accepted. We see Ilya Dragunov, here we go again. Another guy. Little to no reaction from you guys, and I was quite frankly blown away at this one. I don't know if that's just something that translated to TV. Was there a big reaction for Dragunov being there live?
No, because we didn't know why he was there. The promo before, where it obviously set up the open challenge, and it was like, oh, well, it's obviously Dragunov's going to answer it. That's what you got from the promo. That wasn't shown in the arena. We got a blank screen, so we didn't see the Cesaro promo live.
Does that speak to how he's being booked already, too, where just his presence is garnering no reaction? Because there's some guy, like, if an Adam Cole went out there and, like, you didn't know why he was there, I feel like you'd still go apeshit,
Yeah, of course. If we'd have known it was Dragunov answering the the open challenge, he might have got a bigger reaction. But it was just like he came out at the wrong time for a TV taping. That's how it came off.
Yeah.
Until he got on the microphone and said that obviously he's accepting the challenge. But the reaction for Cesaro in that arena,
insane.
God,
you would have thought he was Welsh.
Yeah, you would have done. It was absolutely deafening. The only reaction that got bigger than that was Andrews and Webster.
Yeah, winning the belts. Reaction of the night. We'll get there in a short little seconds. That's up next.
Yeah.
This was booked backwards. It should have been Cesaro going out there first. He still would have got the monster reaction, but Dragunov needs that surprise pop more than Cesaro right now. Definitely, in my opinion. Sorry, my voice is a little raspy, guys. Weather's changing, and it's getting colder out, and I'm still wearing shorts like a brilliant person, so apologies.
I mean, I see what you're saying. Like Cesaro going out and issuing the open challenge, and then Dragunov answers. But I just think, like, after that Cesaro pop, it would have been the same reaction for Dragunov, because it's like, oh my god, Cesaro is actually here, and then it's just like, and it's Dragunov.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I see the light now that you explain it that way. It's kind of a case of just where we're at with how they've booked Dragunov. He just doesn't feel important at all. This match, though, felt like it was important, like it was a big match feel to it, even though it really was another match that meant nothing. This match was another good one, in my opinion. It pretty much had everything. Good selling, good psychology, good spots, brutal spots. 40 spins. 40 spin. Is that the record for a Cesaro airplane spin, Matt?
I think so. Most of us, as we were counting along, expected it to stop at 30, and then we sort of lost the count when it kept going. It was like, holy fuck, he's still going.
Were you one of the few in the crowd that kept count the entire time?
I didn't. I was cheering for Dragunov.
Oh, there you go.
Like, obviously, in my head, it's like, if he loses this, it's like there's another massive load of damage done after the Cassius Ohno loss.
Yeah.
That's my cat you can hear in the background.
I actually thought that was mine upstairs for a second, so that's weird.
No, it's my cat. Yeah, so, I mean, all through it, you knew Cesaro was going to win. They're not going to bring him in to lose. But in the back of my mind, it's just like, if Dragunov loses this one as well, that's 3 matches in 4 weeks that he's fought, and he's only won one, and that was against Tyson Tebow.
Didn't he beat Joseph Connors also, way back?
He beat Joseph Connors, I'd say 5 weeks ago, maybe.
For what that's worth, it's that memorable, you know.
Exactly. It's like, I can't even bring to mind what episode it was. So he's basically lost against 2, not main roster stars, but close. It's like Cesaro's a main roster star. Cassius Ohno probably could be a main roster star. Yeah, once he's outgrown NXT UK. So
yeah,
what's left? I mean, the rebuild has to start now for Dragunov. If it doesn't, then I worry for him.
Yeah, I think it is. And you know what? I was about to praise the one thing they did right in this entire match. This match showcased why you should care about Ilya Dragunov, especially with that break kayfabe hug after the end and the embrace. It showed all of his, just, you know, everything that made him Dragunov in this match. And it definitely, by taking this loss, let's be honest, just a casual watching this too, Cesaro is a guy on Raw. Who the hell's this little guy? So it's not like he's losing to Kona Reeves again. I feel like in a way this match is going to help make Dragunov when we look back a year from now or something in the timeline. I think it's only up from here. I don't think we see him losing for a little while after this. Call me crazy. I just got that feeling now. I feel like that now he's kind of a made man. Like maybe this was also a chance for some agents in the back or whatever. Like Cesaro was a guy. Maybe that's the whole reason Cesaro was brought in, because there were skeptics on Dragunov. Well, let's bring up one of our main guys, especially Cesaro, one of our longest vets, one of the best guys in the ring, see what we're working with here. And I think he held up to his end of the bargain. I think both guys look great.
Oh, they did look great, and it was a fantastic match. It got the first round of Are You Watching Vince McMahon chants as well. I think they're going to become a staple of NXT UK Takeover. It doesn't matter where it is. It's like Vince McMahon's going to get that chant at every Takeover UK now. It's become like a thing.
It's your guys. She's a crack whore.
Yes. But only like, this one's warranted. And Vince McMahon did actually respond on Twitter with his usual, yes, I was watching. Yes, it was fantastic. It's like, yeah, you don't really know why it was fantastic, though. You're just saying it to appease fans. But as for the match itself, yeah, it was brilliant. Technically sound. Everything they did looked fantastic. And, you know, live, it looked brilliant. But when I watched it back on TV, it was even more so. And I'm glad they decided to add a 6th match to the card. But not just a 6th match, like a 6th match that they actually gave time and thought to, and let them go out and do what they wanted. Because Cesaro looked like a different man in this match.
He did. He looked like he was actually happy to be there for once.
Yeah, just like Finn Balor did when he was in Blackpool. It was like, shackles are off, you can do what you do. And it was just like, oh, thank fuck for that.
Dare I say, this was your spectacle match of the night. Kind of, you had a guy from the main roster there in a way, and that, I don't want to say a Rock Hogan feel to it, but something like that. Even though there were other spectacles on the show, like, you know, the tag title win and Tyler Bate and Walton, but I feel like this was just that, I don't know what the word is I'm looking for to describe this match, but it was it, you know?
Yeah, I know what you mean. I would highly recommend this match as well, Travis. Like, to anyone who hasn't seen Takeover and has only heard, Walter versus Tyler Bate. It's like, because that was the general feel coming out of Takeover, and that overshadowed everything, I think.
Yeah.
But, there's more to this than Walter versus Bate, even though that is the centerpiece. And this was one of them. Cesaro versus Dragunov. I highly recommend everybody watches this match.
There's only one match on the show, honestly, flat out, I wouldn't recommend, and it doesn't involve any men. We'll get there later. That's the only match I probably wouldn't recommend. 2-spot match. Even though I just pretty much reviewed that match, it was 2 fucking spot match. But let's get up to something next. I think, something happened in between the tag team title match here. I'm pretty sure.
We got a few shots of Cardiff. Adrian Street was shown in the front,
yes.
In the front row, somewhere in the audience. And do you know what? As soon as they showed Adrian Street in the front row, you knew the outcome of the tag team championship match.
What was the
Like
reaction
you
like?
just knew it.
Because there was like this was. Oh, this is really sad to say. This was the least reaction anybody got on the entire show when they showed Adrian Street. Did they show him on the Tron or?
Yeah, we saw him on the Tron. The thing is like not a lot of not attention, but it's like not a lot of yeah, probably attention was drawn to him. It's like a lot of people were still because before that they'd shown shots of Wales, like of Cardiff,
Yeah.
still shots on the screen, and before that I think there was a commercial for WWE Shop. So it's like after the Dragunov match finished, it was breather time. No one was looking at the Titantron because you could hear the WWE Shop music in the background. So it's like don't need to watch that. And then shots of Wales. So people just glanced up gradually and thought, yeah, well, we know what Wales looks like. A lot of people on their phones, texting, etc. And then obviously you look up and Adrian Street's just about to disappear from the screen. It's like, well, fuck, we missed that.
So hopefully it wasn't a
So I
case of
think,
who the fuck is this guy? Because he's a legend over there.
oh yeah, he's a Welsh legend. And I think if they'd have alerted us to him beforehand and not just like threw him up after an advert, then a lot more people would have been watching and he'd have got a better reaction.
Yeah. Did you watch the special or do you refuse to?
I haven't watched it right now. I'm undecided of whether I will because not being big-headed, Travis, but I believe we did it better.
Still a sore subject for me, guys, and Matt. So sorry if I
Yeah.
break character here a little bit. You want to real quick? How long was our Adrian Street video again, Matt? For the listeners, one time.
Um,
Round about 18 minutes, you'd say.
I think I'd say between 16 and 18
You want to
minutes.
know how long the one on WWE Network was, Matt?
Oh my God, go on.
20 minutes.
Did they just fucking copy and paste everything we did, only put their own logo intro on the front?
20 minutes. Fuck you, WWE. Anyway,
Score.
irony. We're gonna get you one day. It's coming. Disclaimer: those are not actual threats. Do not take us to court, WWE. You can't now because I put a disclaimer. But yeah, that is kind of shitty that he got that reaction, and now that makes sense, I guess, because I've been to many WWE shows where it's just like that, especially at Mania. Just being there for 7 hours this year, it was totally like that, kind of zoning out. Like every vignette that they showed at WrestleMania this year, nobody paid attention to because we were just like, Jesus Christ, I need to stretch, go out, get out of this
Yeah.
row or something.
Do you know what would have gotten a bigger reaction? And I'm not sure how they'd have done it, but if they'd have involved him in the tag team championship match at the end somehow, had maybe Joe Coffey come out to help Gallus and I don't know, someone come out to help Grizzled Young Veterans, and then it looked like Andrews and Webster were in trouble and outnumbered, and then his entrance music hit and he come down and helped them. Maybe that would have been a better pop.
Yeah. Hopefully Andrews and Webster wouldn't have done what Mustache Mountain did at the other takeover and dress up like Adrian Street, each of them.
Can you imagine?
And yeah, Adrian Street walks him to the ring on leashes. My God. What have we done?
No, I'm just I'm imagining him with one in each hand, just like pulling them back. Like a fucking dog.
It's like Dalton Castle
They
and his
were-
boys versus Adrian Street, and
They were wearing homage to Krispy Kreme, though. Did you notice their attire? It was meant to be the Welsh colours. It just looked like they'd come off a shift at Krispy Kreme.
that or they're really big Boston Celtics fans.
Yeah, that reference is lost on me.
That's a basketball team in America is the same colors.
That's what
Let's go right into it. The triple threat tag team title match. Gallus taking on, Team Welsh and defending champions, Grizzled Young Veterans. This is the biggest reaction, I'm going to say it now, Webster and Andrews are ever going to get while they work for this company.
Yeah, agreed. And they only got this obviously because it was Wales. I mean, the feeling in the arena, it was palpable. I'm going to say it's like from the moment the graphic was shown of this is what's coming next. It was chants of Wales, and it's like the audience had to be 70% Welsh.
Yeah.
like had to be. I might have been the only person in the audience that sighed when they won. That's on video as well. But
I wanted
I told
GYV. I wanted the GYV to retain.
so did I.
There you go.
Did I
This is
not
why
tell
we're
you?
friends.
Did I not tell you several weeks ago they're going to put the titles on them just because it's Wales?
You did.
And
Nostradamus.
it's like I knew what was going to happen, Travis, and I hoped it wouldn't. And I was sitting there watching it. It's like with every shooting star press and every 450 and every time they, got their heat back, it was like they're going to win it. And I know they're going to win it, but I didn't want to let myself believe it because I thought, oh, maybe like they'll really just say to Wales, look, you've got Takeover, so you're not having fucking everything. But no, they had to go and please the Welsh and put the tag team titles on the least convincing tag team on the roster. And it's not going to work. And I'm sorry, everyone, it's not going to work. There might be decent wrestlers and nice people and Welsh, but this reign is going to fall as flat as Tony Storm's did. And then we're going to be frantically searching for a heel tag team to take the titles off of them in 6 months' time.
I will say, I feel like they looked good in this match. They really did. They both played that underdog Daniel Bryan role really well with a couple of spots and just in general. But I feel like there were some tremendous false finishes in this match that the Grizzled Young Veterans did. There were at least 2 or 3 times in this match where they hit their shit. Let's say it. They hit their ticket to ride and all that stuff. Where I thought it was over, and they got me. I thought it was a credit to Gallus too. Gallus hasn't exactly looked strong in 2019 for the most part in NXT UK. This was the most vicious or just I don't want to mess with Gallus I've ever seen in a while, especially these 2 members of Gallus in this match. I thought they did really well and they played their roles in this well.
I mean, they did well. From a live point of view, they didn't really factor in. When you watched it back on TV, they got a little more in than it looked like live, but they were still overshadowed. I think had this been Grizzled Young Veterans versus South Wales Subculture, which is what Andrews and Webster are calling themselves now, had this been a simple tag team match, I don't think it would have missed Gallus at all. It's like nobody would have looked at it and said this really needs a third team.
Yeah.
Because I just don't think they did that much. And obviously they were overshadowed by the Welsh, and the Welsh only wanted one result. So them missing wouldn't have... I would have preferred Grizzled Young Veterans to lose the titles to Andrews and Webster, and then Gallus come out on the next TV taping, and that been their next feud. But... it is what it is.
How do you think?
Was a great match.
How do you think that crowd around you would have reacted if Gallus had won this match? Would you still be alive to tell the tale from all the riots?
I'd have been putting on a Welsh accent just to get out of there alive.
It's a good answer.
I've never known, apart from me cheering for Pete Dunne in Blackpool, I've never known a group of people wanting someone to win so much in my life.
It was really it translated on television tremendously. It was the loudest reaction of the show. I'm sure, like you said, it was the loudest reaction there. This may be controversial to say, but this is only because I watched their first match from Wembley like a year ago, and I liked that better than the main event, even though the main event was awesome in this. This was my favorite segment and match of the entire Cardiff show. I think it's the crowd that put it over the top. It made it, felt so special, and it was just a great fucking match. It was flawless. It was so good, and I haven't enjoyed a match like this in such a long time, and this was my humdinger, Matt.
Yep, I mean, it was a great match. It was. What else can you say? What I will say is Grizzled Young Veterans, deeply, deeply unappreciated.
Oh my God. James Drake may be the most unappreciated just member on any roster in that company right now. Flat out.
And do you know what? I think up there with Isla Dawn, I think it's the most improved of 2019.
Same, because a year ago in the show, I remember like making fun of him, calling and saying he looked like Seth Green. So, and I've turned the corner on him like I have like Shayna Baszler, 2 of my favorites right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like GYV, no reason they shouldn't be on SmackDown in the tag team division tomorrow. You know,
I don't. I know I'd love them to get a serious push somewhere, but I think NXT UK and Triple H in particular. Now Pete Dunne's off. Walter obviously could be going at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Cesaro's not going to be a mainstay. I think Triple H long term is hanging his hat on Zach Gibson as the man to take the brand forward.
Yeah.
And I would 100% go with that.
Matt, we're about halfway through. We're about to take a break here. 3 more matches to go. But before we do, begs the question, one of the biggest questions maybe ever been brought up or asked on this show. Is this a result of NXT UK's existence? WWE Raw and SmackDown, they don't feel as worldly. It may feel as less worldly than it ever has in that company since the late 80s. You don't have your regal characters anymore. You don't have a lot of European accents on the show. You just don't, unless it's like Paige or the Iconics. I feel like that's a result of NXT UK existing. I feel like the main product suffers a little bit because of that. Because like we said, there's no reason that GYV shouldn't be there tomorrow winning the tag belts on SmackDown or Raw. No reason Pete Dunne should have been a multi-time IC champion right now, in my opinion. It's just, I feel like they need to do a better job of mixing, not just a couple shots on NXT, pal, and send them back down. Shut up the marks. No, we need bigger for these guys because, quite frankly, almost all the NXT UK roster outshines the majority of the main roster guys in ring.
Yeah, agreed. And you know what? I've heard that even guys like AJ Styles aren't carrying the load anymore, like weekly. So I mean, I obviously don't know because I don't watch Raw or SmackDown anymore, and neither will I. So I don't know like whether the criticism I'm hearing of Styles and Rollins and all them are true. I'm going to assume it is because I've heard it from more than one person, but I would go with NXT UK talent over main roster any day. Especially right now because you've got Bate, you've got Walt, even Trent Seven. You don't see that often, but when you do, it's a treat, you know.
Yeah.
And obviously Pete Dunne's going to NXT full time shortly. I believe he did say his goodbyes Sunday night during the TV tapings, sadly. But yeah, there's such a wealth of talent from all around the world. It's like they don't look like main roster stars, which helps them. They don't all look like they've come off of a factory line
or a tanning bed.
They don't all look like they've been dipped in fucking oil.
Unless it's Alexander Wolf.
You're not going to let that go, are you?
It's ingrained. I'm scarred for life from that match.
So I think, and you know what? I've not watched NXT weekly television for a while. I don't watch it unless Pete Dunne's on it, obviously. I will watch it a bit more now Rhea Ripley's on NXT, but I've not heard like a real buzz about NXT television like I am feeling with NXT UK. And don't get me wrong, NXT UK isn't always great weekly. You know, you can go back and listen to the Omnibus reviews, and there's a lot wrong with NXT UK's weekly television product right now. But as far as the wrestlers go and the roster goes, it's like it has to be one of the most talented rosters in all of professional wrestling.
One of the most consistent, if anything, and it's a roster that always delivers when it has to. No roster is perfect. Yeah. Guys are going to have bad days at the office, but I feel like every time this group of guys and gals are given stages like this, they always deliver because Blackpool was just as good across the boards. It had a nice flow to it. It was just a good wrestling program.
It was, and I'm going to go out on a limb and say Cardiff was better than Takeover Toronto.
Yeah, I would agree. With that, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to just put it all in a bottle and send it out on its way. The review will be completed right here. Cardiff continues. Matt, anything you want to say before we get a little drink ski?
No.
Yeah.
In short, no.
It's just kind of one of those days. Let's take it to the man that has something to say. Former NXT UK champ, the Bruiserweight, Pete Dunne, on Union Smack. We'll be right back.
I'm the Bruiserweight Pete Dunne, and you're listening to the Union Smack Podcast.
We are back, settle in, NXT UK, Takeover Cardiff, round 2, here we go, halfway through the card now, Matt. It's been pretty much all good so far. Was it downhill from here, or did the momentum keep going with the big Haas battle coming up?
It depends whose opinion you take, because for some it went downhill with the next 2 matches and picked up with the main event. I know Rocky shit all over this match. Like, when he messaged me after Takeover, this was not something he liked at all. And of course, we're talking about Dave Mastiff versus Joe Coffey, last man standing match. I don't know, it depends on what your taste is, really. Decent bit of hardcore wrestling when they were around the ring. There were parts of it I enjoyed, Travis. There were parts of it I didn't enjoy. But again, it all depends on taste.
That's true. I totally agree. And I think the one part I did enjoy was they didn't waste any time. That spot where, was it Coffee was whipped into the corner and the rope broke?
Yeah, the book came completely off.
And I think that was brilliant booking, because this crowd definitely needed to be picked up after what they just went through.
Yes. It would have been slightly more believable and a bigger shock, to have the top rope completely come loose had you not already seen them loosening the top rope during the video package. But
okay. Did not know that.
The one stage hand up there, just with his I don't know what they use, crowbar, whatever it is, just like loosening the top rope and hoping he's in enough darkness.
Was it incredibly noticeable? Was it a big group of you talking about it, or was it something like you noticed by yourself?
I definitely noticed it. I would have took the video of it had it been obviously light enough, but they took all the lights down to show the match video package on the screen. But I could definitely see him loosening the top rope. There were 3 referees actually in each, like 3 other corners, just holding the top rope up so he could loosen it enough.
Wow. Little smoke and mirrors, huh, Vince? Think you can fool the people? Well, some of the people are actually there.
That's it. We actually attend these things.
But I feel like, on the other hand, even though, okay, I didn't see that, so we're going to pretend I don't know what you just told me, okay? As a viewer, I thought it was good booking to do that. But see, the downside of doing that early in the match to get the people's attention, Matt, you got to work the rest of the match without a top fucking rope, especially with 2 big horses.
Yes, you do. And I mean, it was fine. I don't think it was anything like a lot more marvellous than their clash on NXT UK TV a few weeks ago. I think I preferred that because of the technical element to it, and obviously it set up this match and it set up the entire story. I appreciated the selling by Dave Mastiff on his liver. I appreciated the selling by Joe Coffey on the ear, which I have to say he had taped up again at the beginning of this match. There's a nice little detail that I noticed. He had I think it was the right ear taped up, which was nice. You don't see that a lot these days. But yeah, I preferred the first match to this one. And this exactly the same build-up as Mastiff's feud with Eddie Dennis going into Blackpool.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, how fucking lazy can you be?
Except that Mastiff was in the Eddie Dennis role for this, in the match.
Yes. Yep. What did you think of the match?
I thought it was as advertised. It wasn't something to write home about, but I feel like it got the job done. It delivered as far as a last man standing match or whatever, and it just, the spots were memorable in it. Some of the tumbles these guys took from high places was ouch. But I feel like Joe Coffey definitely was the right call. He needed a win. My God, there's no reason he shouldn't be in the title picture, or at least talked about, and just to see where he's come from the last takeover to now is very depressing. I feel like they've dropped the ball with Gallus big time.
Yeah, I I mean, interest in Gallus has waned, anyway, but they could have done more to keep him up there. Again, it's like, this is, I think Joe Coffey's another case for a mid-card championship. Like, would him and Gallus have been more interesting had they been led by a European champion?
And I think Mastiff, by the way, I don't know if you remember, and we haven't had a chance to do a show about this topic to talk about it, way back when we were still waiting, right, on the second tournament, I remember some of the rumors we talked about, and one of your favorites was Joe Coffey, and one of mine was Dave Mastiff at the time, before these guys were ever signed, and we were always kind of fantasy booking these guys way back when. So here we are now. It's crazy, right?
Yeah. Also, it's not just that, it's that some of them have come so far in such a short amount of time. Like, Zach Gibson, I wouldn't have thought in 2018 that a year later he'd just been tag team champion. So my money was on him dethroning Pete Dunne at some point.
Yeah.
But I think like the tag team role it's definitely suited him, and it's given him something to do at least until they can find a singles role for him. But like some of them, like Dave Mastiff, just haven't come along at all.
Right. I was going to say also, I don't feel like Dave Mastiff eating the pin in this is really going to make a difference. He's the Big Show or Braun Strowman, even though I know he's in the title picture right now. He's the sideshow act of that brand. He's kind of just, he doesn't need a goddamn belt in the first place, really, in my opinion right now. Not with the other talent you have there that could be champion.
Yeah, I agree with that.
He's a good guy to put in that spot, like we said at the top of the show, with a Walter on the way to another guy. Just like the Big Show was back in the day, like 04, 05. He was on the way till you get to Brock or something. You got to beat Big Show first or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know, yeah.
But yeah, it was fine. I have no real big problems with this match. I think it suffered from a lot of, what it had to follow, obviously, and just... they already really had a match before, so that always takes away from me when I see guys lock up and have a match on Raw and then they put them on pay-per-view. Well, it's always better when you never see a guy touch the other guy on the road to that match. It makes that match better when you finally get there.
And also, second time round is very rarely as good as the first.
Exactly. Not even Michaels and Taker could beat their first meeting from WrestleMania 26 and 25, even though they had matches in like 97 before that. But we don't count that, I guess, now in WWE. Now, would you agree with that sentiment? Like, this was fine, but there's nothing to really write home about.
Yeah, I mean, it had its spots. The cricket bat across Joe Coffey's back.
Ooh.
I felt that. And obviously, like, a cricket bat, it's thick wood. There's no way to gimmick that unless you make it out of plastic and just tell him to leather him with it really hard.
Hashtag thickwood.
Like, they were over the other side of the ring, and I was about 7-ish rows back on, the opposite side, and I could hear the connection to Joe Coffey's back. So I liked that. Didn't like the bit where they ran at each other with chairs. That just made it look fucking stupid.
Yeah.
And I thought I'm going to go against Rocky here a tiny bit. Rocky, to my recollection, didn't like the ending of this match. I thought it showed Joe Coffey in not a daft light, but like a cunning light. It's like he's done, he's got nothing left, but just kick that case away and hope for the best.
Yeah, I was okay with it. Same reasons you were.
Yeah.
I can't. Rock, we love you, but I don't know why the hate for the match. I don't think it was the shits by any means. That's up next, in my opinion, the worst match of the night we're about to talk about. But yeah, before we was there a promo between this? Because I don't have it written down here.
There was no promo. No, the Cesaro promo was actually the only promo on the show.
That's what I thought.
Which, do you know what? They just made the fucking change, because obviously the weekly television is just full of talking. So it's nice to have an actual show that's just dedicated to the wrestling.
They booked it completely different, and what a shock it worked. We've only been saying this for how many months now? There's too much talk on these weekly TV shows.
Yeah. And it's been like that since the beginning. It's just like 20 minutes of wrestling on a 60-minute show, and the rest is just talking. It's getting too much.
Well, Matt, loosen your pants. It's NXT women's title time here. NXT UK, excuse me. Toni Storm taking on Kaylee Ray. This has had a lot of build to it. We've had shots about your mother and father abandoned you and stuff like that. Just, I don't know, getting real personal. And surprisingly, NXT UK and WWE going into these two women's background coming up together. The build's been fun. I'm a big Kaylee Ray fan. Toni Storm's going down a couple notches for me for obvious reasons. Let's talk about that real quick. Has she completely forgotten how to form words into sentences that make sense?
I don't know, she just can't be bothered anymore. I've not seen one promo from her since the beginning of, I'm going to say the beginning of Download Festival that I've enjoyed or wanted to go back and watch, or has meant anything. So even through this, and don't get me wrong, the build to this match has been the best thing that's happened to the Women's Championship since Rhea Ripley won it in 2018.
100% agree.
It's like, yeah, exactly, without a shadow of a doubt. It's like they've put the time and effort into this, and I appreciate that. What I don't appreciate is a champion who does the bare minimum to get through her promos. And not only that, Travis, and do you know what? Before I make this statement, this is going to upset a lot of Toni Storm fans. And I love Toni Storm, don't get me wrong. Fancy the arse off the woman. Great wrestler. But she has done, let's be honest, I know she's not been given the greatest material to work with in the ring, but she's done the bare minimum to get by since Blackpool.
Yeah. And she's just, let's say it, we said it off air, she looks inebriated during every one of these promos. She slurs her words. Her eyes are all over the place. I don't want to accuse or assume or anything like that, but my God, is she on something? Because her promos, never seen nothing like it. Maybe with Bayley, but I don't even think with Bayley it's this bad. They're just progressively worse. It's a slippery slope. They're just not getting better. It's like looking at a chart after a stock crashes and the stock market is just all down, 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 down. My God.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Thank God she's good in the ring, I guess, when she's not injured.
But like I say, it's like in the ring and out, she's done as little as possible to get by, and it's worked for her up to this point. But I think, as harsh as it is to say, Travis, she's not helped the Women's Championship become what they wanted it to be. I think, if anything, she's probably hindered it. Her star name, I think they looked at it and went, Toni Storm, her name will elevate the championship to, the plethora we need it to be. And it's just not. It's like her laziness on the mic, her unwillingness in the ring. And that's what it's been. It's like every time you look at her match against Ginny, it was fine. Her match against Candy Floss at Download, it was fine. Her match against Nina Samuels, that wasn't very good at all.
I was going to say, you're going to say fine, because
her matches since Blackpool have either got have been between the bars of and fine.
Matt, is it me? Dare I say about her queen, her Royal Highness, Toni Storm, the face of NXT UK Women's Division? Is she phoning it in a lot of times?
Yes.
There it is. Gotcha. Just like Nakamura.
I saw a lot of people, Travis, before Takeover on Twitter saying, well, why would they take the belt off Toni Storm? Toni Storm's the future of this division. So, no. Toni Storm was the future of this division in January, and now we need somebody to make up for the last 7.5 months.
A lot of people lose sight of NXT and NXT UK too. At the end of the day, it's still developmental. It's still a case of what are we working with here. If anything, I think they need to, or hopefully they've learned to reel that shit in when it comes to promos. Less is definitely more with Toni Storm. Let her in ring do the talking, and just she's so good at mannerisms, even though they annoy both of us sometimes. Her facial expressions during a match are so good sometimes she doesn't need to say anything, really.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Agreed.
Focus on the strengths with these fucking people. No wonder you let go half of your talent half the time. Or you give someone like Jack Stars a chance, who is actually really tremendous. But who the fuck would know that watching this show sometimes? Just take a chance.
Agreed.
Who knows what'll happen?
And I will say that Kaylee Ray carried this feud.
think that's another problem,
like,
too.
Completely from the beginning.
Matt, I feel like since Rhea Ripley, there hasn't, even with Jenny and Nina Samuels is beyond laughable now. There hasn't been another star on that level of Toni Storm, and I feel like her reign suffered because of that. And finally, we get one, and look, it's the best thing about the reign, you know?
Yeah, totally agree.
Kaylee Ray is just an evil, sinister
Jenny probably
version of
should have
Toni
been
Storm,
that star,
you know?
but she's over it in now. So I don't know what's happened to this women's division. It started out so promising in 2018. They introduced a championship. They put it on Ripley because Storm was injured. Now, I appreciate that women like Xia Brookside and Isla Dawn have taken the time to get better and learn their craft more. But at the same time, it's like two people don't make a division. And when your champion's not trying, and when the bookers seemingly don't have any interest in the division as a whole, then you're fighting a losing battle. It's like Millie McKenzie hasn't been back to NXT UK since 2018. That's a major loss right there. You've messed up Nina Samuels. You've made Ginny basically pointless because now she's got Jazzy Gambit with her. There's less attraction about Ginny than there was before. So
the focus is all on Jazzy right now, basically.
Yeah, in that duo, it's all Jazzy. It's like, I don't care about Ginny at all. You've got Piper Niven, who, against Kaylee Ray, will be able to help rebuild a division. They've thrown Tegan Knox in there. It's a little spoiler coming for people to watch in the next 2 weeks. So you've basically got Kaylee Ray, you've got Piper Niven, you've got Tegan Knox, who people are interested in right now. Xia Brookside will come up under them, but she's going to take another 6 months at least to get into the title picture. I just don't know what's happened to this division. And people can say, oh, it's the best women's division, in WWE. It's not. Like, when you shine a spotlight on it, Travis, and expose all its flaws, it's really not the best division in WWE today, women's division.
Yeah, I gotta agree. I feel like people could argue, well, you got Xia Brookside just sitting there, ready for a push, blah blah blah. But then what? I mean, I don't know.
Xia Brookside. Go.
I'm just saying, my head draws a blank when I start thinking about how to book their women's division, just because of how badly they fucked it up.
I think now it's going to take. I think right now that the title's come off of Toni Storm, the division's in a better place. You've got this despicable heel who you can push to the stratosphere now. The title's not coming off of Kaylee Ray anytime soon, so you've got at least 6 months to work with to build her up as this right bitch, and then she can get rid of challenger after challenger after challenger, and then underneath that you can start telling Xia Brookside's story. She can lose. Then she finally beats Ginny, and then that sends her on a major push until she gets to Kaylee Ray at the next takeover.
Speaking of the phrase telling a story, that is not what I took away after watching this match. Neither woman told a story in this. This was basically a 2-spot match, like I said. This felt rushed beyond belief to me, man.
Yeah, it was, because of the injury.
I know. So then why book it? You're only cheating yourself and the fans. You're cheating Toni Storm, who this just made her look like shit. She's capable of so much more than this. It's one thing WWE used to do so well back in especially the 90s. Like when Shawn Michaels got beat up by like 22 Marines, right? He had that tremendous angle on television where he surrendered the belt to Dean Douglas. That was good fucking TV right there, and it made him a better babyface for when he came back. And then he won the Rumble. Look at that. That's how you do it.
Yeah.
I don't know. What the fuck do I know, though?
You know what? I agree. I would have preferred maybe an attack angle in the back, like prior to this, and then maybe Toni Storm comes out for the match, too beaten up and injured, and gets pinned in a few seconds. That would have made Kaylee Ray look a monster. That would have made Toni Storm look like a baby face with heart.
Have Toni Storm get jumped by Imperium backstage. They're beating up everybody else. Why not? It'll make them worse heels. Beat up a woman. That's awful.
Do you know what? I don't know. Honestly, it's like the match live looked horseshit. It didn't look as bad on television as it did live. The crowd was still solidly behind Toni Storm here.
Which is still weird to me.
I
It's got to be because she's so attractive at this point, because she hasn't been booked like anybody should be behind her.
Yeah, I agree. I do agree with that. It's like...
My dog agrees, if you can hear him.
I can hear him, yeah. Sorry. Yeah, she's tread water for months, and I know why people still like her. Obviously, she's living off of her name right now and what she's done in the past, but I don't know. Surely people with brains can see that Kaylee Ray, that was the only choice.
But no matter how good a build-up is, no matter how good the talent is, no matter how many credible members are in the division, eventually you have to have a match. And after weeks and so many episodes, what we got here didn't equate to what we should have got from the amount of build this match had. I know the injury, like we said. I know all that. But also, there's just other ways to do it, like we said, and it just could have been avoided to have this come off so lackluster. And I don't think it helped Toni Storm at all. I don't know how much it helped Kaylee Ray because, I mean, how did she really win it then? From a not 100% competitor, never is a good look, I feel like.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's commendable what they've managed to do working around an injury, I guess. But the match really didn't do the story or the build justice, and it should have done. Had this been, 20 minutes, I'm sure they could have pulled out a classic. I've not seen any Toni Storm Kaylee Ray matches from the past. I'm sure they're all better than this. But you know what? What can you do? This iteration of Toni Storm has been a disappointment. I hope the second coming is much better.
And I feel like these women will meet again, and I feel like we will get that Broadway, and hopefully it's better than this.
Yeah, fingers crossed, because there were glimmers of something here, Travis, more so than with Rhea Ripley and Toni Storm, but, what can you do?
But Matt...
It is what it is at the end of the day.
It is what it is. But it doesn't get better than the main event of this show is up next. NXT UK Heavyweight Championship on the line. Walter defending against Tyler Bate. What a build! What a match! What a... everything. This match was great. This match is exactly why I'm a fan of professional wrestling. Sorry for the little spasm, but I am so in love with every time these two guys lock up. Every time I watch these two, whether it be Progress or this company, it's magic. Complete fucking magic. I say it all the time. Especially that stare-down shot we talked about a year or so ago about when they met in Progress. It has a modern Hawk and Andre feel with these two. Now, Hawk and Andre weren't doing the shit these guys do, but I'm just saying that stare-down look is what it reminds me of, and I love it.
Yeah, agreed. And I think comparing their match here and their match with Wembley, maybe I'm a bit biased because I was there for it, but I'm going to say this was better than their Wembley match.
And you're such a pro, because that's where I was going next. What was this like to be a part of? Just the atmosphere in general, and just what was the crowd 50-50? Was it? It didn't by no means on television came off that way. Everybody, I feel like, wanted Tyler Bate. What was it like?
Yeah, it was a completely pro Tyler Bate crowd. Everybody hated Walter, and I think that it's obviously like testament to how good Walter's done his job. It's like there were Walter is a wanker chants, fuck you Walter. Yeah, everyone was, there was no actual positive cheers for Walter. It was all Tyler Bate.
Good.
But from the minute he came out,
I always say it was good. Sorry.
oh, okay. So yeah, it's like, and I can't remember a time when we were quiet through the match. Yeah, we were either singing the Tyler Bates song or chanting Big Strong Boy or chanting something else at Walter, and it was and I think the commentators said this match went 40 minutes just over. I'm not sure whether that's correct. I'm going to have to check that for the book, obviously, but if it did, then it was 40 minutes that seemed like 10. That's how good this match is.
The best matches always seem like they fly by. You could say.
Yeah, agreed. And you know what? I've never felt, what's the right word? I've never felt drama flow through a normal audience like it did here.
Yeah.
So at Paul, you sort of knew Pete Dunne was going to retain over Joe Coffey, which was fine. But with all the rumours of, Walter wanting to leave, it was like, actually, Tyler Bate might actually win this.
Yeah.
And it's testament to, the underdog spirit that he showed and, his absolute heroic fight back in the face of adversity that everyone believed that it might actually be possible. It was just a fantastic match to be part of.
And this goes back to what you said at the beginning of this. Walter's doing a good job, right? Because when he first came to NXT UK, everybody was behind Walter, even in a heel position against Pete Dunne. He got cheered when he beat Pete Dunne, right? But now, that was one of my biggest complaints because we're fresh off the heels, 24 hours. This is after the Bayley heel turn last night on Raw. We're recording this, guys. Every time someone turns heel on the main roster now, people chant yes. Who the fuck's the heel then? You know what I mean? And I long for the old... I'm old school. I love it when people are spitting on a heel and calling him a cocksucker and just not supposed to like the heel.
That's it. And that's what heel should want, surely. Like, they should know that if I'm going to be a complete cunt, I want people to want to jump the barricade to try and take me on.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the reaction you want if you're a heel. And if I'm Walter, I might be unhappy in WWE, but I'm fucking delirious about the reaction I got in Cardiff.
And I don't want people to think I'm all cornet about this kind of thing, my standpoint on it. I'm not saying, like, I don't like tweener characters, but my thing is, that's fine, you have a tweener character, but every guy on the fucking roster can't be a tweener character, because that's the whole point of a tweener character. He stands out from the heels of the baby faces. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's where I feel like, sadly, that's one of the worst things about modern wrestling. We got a bunch of tweeners on the roster anymore.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that.
But yeah, man, this was... I summed it up. I mean, I could not do it justice like you. You were there. I only watched this shit on TV, but I do know this. Vince McMahon, you are watching. You need to take notes. You need to start changing some shit up because both of these guys belong there tomorrow, just like Grizzled Young Veteran. There's so many of these guys. Tyler Bate, my God. This guy is a prodigy. Just his age and what he's already done in the business and just the resume and caliber of matches he's put in. Unbelievable.
Yeah. Agreed.
Same with
and
Pete,
The end of this match, when Pete Dunne and Trent Seven came out to help Tyler Bate up, you actually felt that he's given everything. So he can't actually stand up on his own because he's given everything to this match. It was just so well done, Travis. It's like, I don't have the words to tell people how well done this was. And if you haven't seen it, you're doing yourself a disservice if you don't watch it.
This is one of those matches where going into it, not knowing who the winner was, spoiler free, it was a roller coaster. Especially if you knew the rumors about Walter, like you saw said on Tenant Talks, and just anybody that's in the know knows anything. Walter, all these rumors that he's unhappy, he's going to leave. Yeah, there was a bunch of, oh man, they had me for a second, where you really thought Tyler Bate was going to, and just that whole build they did all night. McGuinness especially was so good. We haven't talked about that at all. McGuinness was so good on this show. There was that I can't believe we didn't even mention this. This is the very first match on the pay-per-view. The little honorable mention to Lionheart, the little Noam Dar spot he did to honor Adrian.
Yes, that was very nice.
But McGuinness,
Very
man,
nice.
both commentators on this were great. But in this match especially, just that whole first ever two-time NXT UK champion made you think he was going to do it. Because, WWE, when they drive home stats like that, more times than not, the guy's probably going to win it.
Yeah. And do you know what? This leaves the door open now for number 2 and possibly a Tyler Bate championship win. If Tyler Bate is indeed going to be the guy. Because right now, I see no one else other than Jordan Devlin, possibly.
And hopefully, if that happens, we get the entire Trent Seven heel turn and those two feuding for the title by the end of it.
Yeah, that would be nice. I would very much like this to end in a Mustache Mountain split. And if Walter is going to go, then I hope he goes in another match like this. It's like, what better way to go out than to say, do you know what, I'm not happy with the booking. I'm not happy with the way you've treated me, but look what I can do if you give me 40 minutes.
We worded it like he has terminal cancer, by the way. Well, if he's going to go, then I hope he's going to go out like this. No, Walter's healthy on that aspect, guys. We didn't mean it like that. What is your final grade? You were there, you lived it, you experienced it, of NXT TakeOver Cardiff, Matt.
Oh, A+. Because every match, apart from the Tony Storm match, was worthy. Some more than others, but I don't. For me, there was nothing less than 4 stars on the card. The main event was a solid 5 stars. Yeah, that's not even me being biased. That's me looking at it from a professional wrestling standpoint. It had everything. It had the drama. You know, it had the story. It had the monster. It had the babyface fighting back from reverse. Everything you could want. 5-star classic match. And do you know what? I'm going to go out of the way and say best match in NXT UK history thus far.
Cannot argue that. My standpoint on it is, man, very few in the modern era of wrestling do we get shows that are just totally enjoyable for the most part without it's so refreshing to come out of any wrestling shows anymore in 2019 but not bitching and moaning about it and just dreading certain booking decisions. And this is one of those cases. Another A+ from me, man. This did it. Like I said earlier, one of the best shows that this company's put out all year. Definitely a top 3 contender. It's definitely must-see TV, especially if you're not familiar with the NXT UK guys. You don't watch like we do. You want to catch up, get to know them. I feel like this show did a good job of getting to introduce to the casuals a lot of these guys, Matt.
It did, and I think it went off with British strong style hugging in the ring, almost a curtain call scene.
Yeah.
I felt like, but after that, and I did get it on camera, and it will be in the travel vlog. Like Pete Dunne went to each side of the ring and sort of said goodbye to the fans, which was sad.
But in life, all things must progress and change, Matt, and acceptance is key. And he's on to bigger and better things, if it means anything. So hopefully.
Well, fingers crossed.
Fingers yeah. Legs, fingers, all that stuff crossed. Eyes for Pete's success. This has been a success. This has always been a tremendous treat. Glad to do this with you, somebody that's there on the spot. 2 takeovers in the books for you this year, man. Who knows? The next one, maybe you'll be there too.
Well, I certainly intend to, Travis. I work so I can attend wrestling.
And you know, TNA used this tagline for years. This is wrestling. And I really feel like just those 3 words sum up NXT TakeOver Cardiff. This is wrestling. This was exactly what I love about pro wrestling, was this show. It had a little bit of something for everyone on this. Even with the big hoss battle that Rocky hated, there's a guy out there that fucking loved it, you know?
Yep. And that's what wrestling's about in the end. Finding wrestling that you love and try and enjoy it, and don't let the fucking idiots on Twitter
cherry pick the good and don't be a dick. That's how you experience wrestling the proper way.
That's it.
The Union Smack way. One more time, Matt, before we get out of here. Where can everyone catch you and all that goodness?
You can find me on Twitter at The Perfect Tenant. You can pick up our official merchandise, the official Union Smack shirt, a Hibiki TMD shirt, Reset Button shirt, Tenant Talk shirt, and Union Smack Hall of Fame shirt. Those 2 coming in the next week or so from our online shop, unionsmack.bigcartel.com.
Very good, very good. Look for so much more goodness this fall, like we said, coming from just this show alone. Not to mention Power Rangers, Monterey Place, Hibiki Honors, all that stuff coming up, guys. Never drew a dime, all of it right here on the channel, on Twitter, as always, at the Hibiki TMD. Hit it down below, red button, do it now. Best in retro gaming and pro wrestling, right here. Until next time, for Maniac Matt and myself, saying one more time, cheerio, mates.